Hi, everyone. Good evening. Carl Steinbeck here. This Sunday night, I want to talk about day five, recap, and go over some of those things. But I think overall, it's been a interesting day here because we had about 3 hours of further testimony from Carmen, Carmen Lauder, who was the person that apparently supplied the fentanyl to Kouri Richins, and she's got a lot of memory issues. She's got a lot of issues of also, I think, reading comprehension. But overall, no matter how you slice it and dice it, what I saw from the defense today was that they were trying to like get her confused a lot. She'd been interviewed 6 or 7 times, and each time there's a different way she might have answered it differently. How many was it, 3 or 4 times? How much was the amount? Where did she leave the drugs? Those kind of things. She's not able to maybe stay consistently the same way each and every time. But overall, the gist of what she's saying, I think the jury is picking up on that she's somebody you can take home to the bank and cash it in because she's reliable on that point. So I think that all this hay that the defense is trying to make, that well, you made an inconsistent statement here. You directly contradicted yourself here on this point. All these kind of things were going on for 3 hours today. And so I'm not going to cover over that because it's so exhausting and nauseating and really just want to eye gouge yourself because it's so hard to listen to. And I'm just thinking the jury's just turned off by this. So just because there's points that the defense counsel think they're making, I think the jury's not buying it at all whatsoever. I think the jury totally is like us, and I'm sure you all as well are just totally over and done with this. We got the gist of what she's saying, and defense, you're just striking out. So the bottom line is she supplied most likely the one that supplied fentanyl to Kouri Richins. So let's go ahead and then see what we have here for an argument, legal argument made by the prosecutor, lead prosecutor on this case, Bloodworth, Brad Bloodworth. A couple of y'all were telling me he's got a background of being a Navy JAG, so I looked him up, and he's actually a former Army JAG like myself, and the JAG Corps is roughly almost 2,000 attorneys at any given time. So I do not have the I don't have any paths that I've crossed with him in the past when I was active duty. I retired in 2020, and so I think he's about 13 years behind me. So it looks like he didn't fully go through the full 20. I went through almost 30 years, but in any event, he's doing really good, and I'm impressed with him. And he actually is quite an Army officer indeed, because he actually went to West Point where he got trained there, and spent about 5 or 6 years as an infantry officer. Went to airborne school and Ranger school, which is really grueling, tough competitions. Something I've never done. Jumping on airplanes, I never would want to do that. And I have bad knee from football days. So anyway, but he did all that, and he got selected to go to law school, and it looks like they paid for him to go to law school, and they also got a degree in engineering, a master's. So he's got a engineering degree from West Point as well as engineering master's from John Hopkins, I believe it was. And so anyway, the guy is really accomplished well, both in the military as well as in the courtroom here. So I think they got an excellent prosecutor, being able to try this case. He's like the number one chief prosecutor there in the office, not the senior most person, but he's only been there since basically since this murder happened in 2022. So to go from basically a person that came from completely out of state, he came all the way from the East Coast there in Maryland to be hired in this Summit County as a prosecutor, and then to move up to the number one chief prosecutor position is quite a feat. And so anyway, I think the case is in good hands from the prosecution standpoint. Defense, not so much. We're seeing a lot of issues with them. They don't quite understand a lot of things about the rules of evidence, the difference between impeaching someone and bringing out inconsistent statements, things of that nature. The rules of evidence are just not really up on all that, but they're trying hard. At least they're trying to put up somewhat of a fight. But it's not looking good for Kouri. Let's go some more of hear this argument from Bloodworth.
Okay.
Too late, Mark.
Current state of affairs. The state has moved to admit 857 through 863, which is a series of transcripts of interviews between of Ms. Lauber by other government officials. None of those were subject to cross-examination, right?
No.
They were all just interviews.
At the time, no.
Correct.
At the time, they were not subject to cross.
Okay. So they are categorically hearsay, but will need an exception for or another rule that would allow them to be admitted, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The defendant objects to hearsay. If you would respond to that and then tell me which rule you think they come in under.
Your Honor, the defense has cherry-picked certain statements that Carmen Lauber made to impeach her credibility, to rehabilitate her credibility. The state needs to enter all of the interviews because they show essentially an ongoing iterative discussion, which when you understand the full arc of, it is clear that she is being credible. While she may be confused, she is not untruthful. So the full scope of Ms. Carmen Lauber's statements need to be admitted for a rehabilitation purpose. Any other statements by, the questions essentially, right, by the various interviewers, that all goes to the effect on Ms. Lauber.
Everything you say is true, but I still have to contend with the Utah rules of evidence. And so they are out of court statements. You could call the other half of those conversations, Detective Maynard, Detective O'Driscoll, presumably maybe the federal official, and ask how this went. And if they didn't remember, you could refresh their recollection. All I need to contend with right now, and it is a genuine question, I don't think I have a basis to just admit them wholesale. There may be a basis for you to ask Ms. Lauber about other prior consistent statements that she's made to rebut the argument from the defense of a recent fabrication. And I'm not suggesting otherwise.
One thing about this judge, he's super smart, has a great calm demeanor. He doesn't get rattled. He's understands the rules of evidence. A lot of judges may not understand the rules of evidence much, and they get appointed there because they're political connections, and they're not really good at actually being a trial judge. This guy's super sharp, and it's good to see that. Guys like this, they're wonderful to practice in front of. I mean, compare this to what we've seen in Massachusetts. He's along the lines of Judge Everett there in Tallahassee. So it's just such a reassuring thing to think you got a guy there on the bench who takes his job seriously, and he's not favoring one side or the other. Now, what he's doing here is he's coaching, in a way, he's coaching the prosecution and how they could get what they want. But the thing is, he does that to both sides. He's being fair. He's not trying to just help the defense or just help the prosecution. So he's a straight shooter. And so he's trying to help make sure justice happens. And but he's not going to lean his hand on the scale one way or the other. He's just going to call it like it is. But let's see how this goes. I think he's making the right ruling here. Now, this is like 900 some pages of her prior transcripts of her interviews with law enforcement, and the defendant, Kouri Richins, was not in the room, so that makes it much more difficult to have to jump through the rules of evidence to try to get that admitted. And I just think the sheer volume of the 900 some pages, to me, I think he's just worried that Carmen's not going to be trustworthy enough to believe that she's the one that gave the fentanyl to Kouri. But I'm not worried about that. I think that she comes across good enough. And like I say, her memories of people that use drugs and deal drugs, it's something that's their memory is going to be malleable all the time. And even if they're sober, And who knows if if they're being accurate on when the last time they had some drug is. But in any event, what I've seen in dealing with witnesses like this is that she's like a Katie McBanois type of situation in the Adelson case. She overall, you get it that she's telling you the truth. She's trying to tell you the truth, even though her mind may not remember it. Whether it's 3 drug distributions or 4, and exactly what type, I don't think it matters so much, because the bottom line is we will find out here from another witness today on day 5. It really shows that what the exact type of drugs here is not as a big a deal as the defense is trying to make it out to be, because the bottom line is we're going to find out that Kouri actually was trying to get the worst of the worst, the fentanyl, to do some desperate deed so she could start a new life. So let's go ahead and listen a little bit more of this.
But we can't do it through the wholesale. We can't do that through the wholesale admission of the transcripts.
Your Honor, I think I can't. I guess I disagree with that.
I guess, how can I overcome the hearsay problem that is being raised? They are out of court statements being made for the being admitted for the truth of the matter, right?
No, they're being admitted to rehabilitate.
Well, but if what she says in the prior things isn't true, it doesn't rehabilitate her. So the truth is what matters, correct?
No, in rebutting recent fabrication, what matters is what matters is the full arc of the discussion to show that this was not a recent fabrication. That if you understand Carmen Lauber's statements, not cherry-picked, but over the scope of a series of interviews over 2 weeks or whatever it is, you can understand that she is credible and not recently fabricated.
I need you to tell me how this comes in over a hearsay objection or through some other rule regarding prior statements of a witness. They're out of court statements.
Yes, that's one of the things I know. When I first started out as a prosecutor in the military, I was wondering, like, can I just admit these police reports? I mean, that pretty much helps show what happened in the case. But in American jurisprudence, what we do is we have to build evidence through the testimony of witnesses. That's the main thing, not documents. So it's not just a production of documents. Here's a police file, jury. You can sort through it and, convict the defendant based on that. No, it's through sworn testimony. And based on the testimony is how you can impeach somebody through their inconsistent statements, their prior bad acts, or whatever the case is that they can find out, their perception, memory, motive, all those kind of stuff that are fair game for impeachment. So I think the judge is making the right ruling here. I just think that the prosecution thinks it would be helpful, but in the end, from a practical standpoint, I'm telling you from my experience, a jury's not going to look at 900 some pages of testimony, and he's worried about them being cherry picked and putting a spin on it. But I think the jury gets this for what it is.
I don't know. I start with this. They are out of court statement. Yes, the state is not offering them for the truth of the matter asserted in Carmen Lauber's statements. The state is offering them not to say what she's saying back then is true. We're saying the opposite, actually. We're saying that a lot of what she said back then, we're not offering for the truth. We're not offering Carmen Lauber's statements to show that she had 3 drug deals. We're offering Carmen Lauber's statements to show, regardless of whether they were true or not, this is the evolution of the detectives, of her providing information to the detectives, whether or not that information is true. Because the defense in impeaching Carmen Lauber has suggested that the investigators were planting information with Carmen Lauber.
And you can call those people to testify subject to cross-examination to say that's not how it went at all.
And
the evolution of them was X, Y, and Z.
And I think putting in the transcripts does the same thing, and there's no hearsay problem. The statements that are not hearsay, 801 D1A.
Yeah, that's why I asked about the cross-examination problem, right?
She's been cross-examined.
The prior statement has to have been cross-examined, right? Under D01,
No.
The declarant testified. Sorry.
No, subject to cross-examination.
801 D1A, right?
She testified about the prior interview statements.
Where's the inconsistency?
She has been cross-examined about the prior.
Him saying that the prosecutor saying that they don't want to bring it in for the truth of the matter asserted is sort of funny that he's making that point, because there's a lot of what she says that you don't even really know what for sure the truth is, but you get the gist of the truth with her, is the way I would say it. And so, like somebody's saying, the context of it here, what she's trying to say is what they can bring out either through her again, but I don't think they need to worry about that. So I think she did what they wanted her to do, which is explain what you had interactions with Kouri and drugs, and however much you remember, don't remember, tell us the best as you know it.
Statements, and the statement is inconsistent with the declarant's testimony.
But that's the foundation you haven't laid.
He doesn't want to put these kind of questions to try to like smooth it out with Carmen, because her memory's just so bad on a lot of different things. So he's just hoping the prior memory, the whole conversations he had several years ago and all those interviews comes to show that, okay, I guess she's truthful for the most part. But I like I say, I don't think it's necessary.
Many of them, there isn't foundation for all of these statements being inconsistent with her sworn testimony.
Consistent, yeah, I'm sorry.
Sure, D1B, that's fine.
D1B is consistent with.
Right, and there isn't foundation for all of them being consistent either. You just have to lay foundation. That's the problem with the wholesale admission.
I don't think any judge would just allow 900 some pages in like that. So pick the things you think she needs to be rehabbed on and go with that. So I agree with the judge.
Maybe that we just need to.
He's given a chance for Bloodworth to try to make the point in his argument, but he's not cutting him off. He's allowing him to make the point, but he's just not going to win on this one.
Do this piecemeal, maybe call Carmen Lauber back. I'm not suggesting that there are not pieces of these transcripts that are admissible. There certainly are likely to be pieces of these transcripts that are admissible as a non-hearsay exhibit. Wholesale admission of them, there is not foundation for that. Yeah.
Your Honor, I think the consistency comes in the arc of the statements. That's where the consistency rises. Sure, we have individual sentences. This is an ongoing interview, right? It might have taken place over the course of several days, but it is an ongoing interview. And to appreciate the consistency of the interview, the giant interview.
Aloha is saying, no, we heard the police what told Carmen we need to indict Kouri. I know there's some comment like that we saw in an interview where they said, you know, we need more details on the kind of stuff we need to indict him. More, it makes it look like, hey, we're asking for information so we can have evidence to try to prosecute and convict Kouri. But I didn't take it that way, and I don't think the jury will take it that way, that it's like, hey, we need more details, make stuff up. I mean, think about it. She's the one that came forward. So, and they could have not have given her immunity. They could have gone after her for way worse sentences than what she's otherwise facing in this drug court.
The jury, that is the consistent statement. That is consistent with her testimony. Her testimony being that this is generally what happened. I might be confused on days. I might be confused on details between various lies. But she is, in the great arc of her interview, she is consistent. And you have to understand the great arc of her interview to appreciate that consistency.
And forgive me, I just want to make sure the record is clear on the scale of what the state is asking here. So if somebody could please give me the page counts for each of these exhibits.
Looking at it.
There's Eugene Richins, the dad of Eric. Right, I'm going to get bogged down on this one here.
That's the interview transcripts would be appropriate to rebut.
Let's go ahead and jump to the one that I thought was really critical today for testimony. is here at the 420 mark.
Your Honor, the state calls Anna Isbell.
Isabel, if you'd step in front of Brittany, we'll get you sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury?
I have it at 1.25. Replay speed.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. What is your name?
Anna Isbell?
Do you spell your last name Isbell?
Yes.
Do you know who Kouri Richins is?
Yes.
How?
Knew her from high school?
Isabel, I apologize for interrupting. Turn the mic right a little bit. You can sit wherever you're comfortable. It's easier to like take up.
Knew her from high school? Just living in the same area?
Do you know who Hayden Jeffs was?
Yes.
Who was he in relation to you?
My significant other for 13 years.
And he passed, didn't he? And it was a motorcycle accident? Okay, I can see you're nodding.
Yes. Sorry. Try not to say yes because it'll start making me cry. But yes, he did.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry. Do you know whether Hayden Jeffs knew Kouri Richins?
Yes.
Did they know each other?
Yes.
How did they know each other?
He did handyman work for her.
Were you with Hayden Jeffs on January the 22nd, 2022, when he received the call from Kouri Richins?
Yes.
Did you overhear that call on speakerphone?
Yes.
What on that phone call, if anything, did you hear Kouri Richins ask Hayden Jeffs?
For something for a client. I don't remember what it started with, the T or a P. We didn't know what it was. I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, I don't know who brought it up or how it got around to that. Hayden was just saying, fuck that client. Fentanyl? What? Fuck that. Fuck that.
Your Honor,
Hayden statements, Mr. Bloodworth.
No.
Your Honor,
Pause for 1 second, Mrs. Bell. My apologies.
effect on Kouri Richins.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff's side of this conversation, as related by Mrs. Bell, that's an out-of-court statement that you cannot consider for its truth. The only reason you can consider it is for context for whatever Ms. Richins may have said in response after hearing it. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir.
I interrupted you. Do you want to say anything else about that?
Okay, after Mr. Jeff said that, how did Ms. Richins respond?
She said, okay, thank you. That's all.
Was there a second call then?
No.
Okay. Did you hear any other of the discussions between Ms. Richins and Mr. Jeff?
No.
So think about that.
Thank you. No further questions.
So you have Kouri Richins calling up her boyfriend. She can hear on a speakerphone, and she's asking for fentanyl. That's huge. That's very damaging to defense. Yes, you. That's who I'm talking about. You there, Kouri. You're looking for fentanyl, and that's what your husband dies of some days later.
Good afternoon, Anna.
Anything you had about, oh, she didn't know this is some other drug. She didn't intend to kill him. You know what? She was shopping around looking for fentanyl. Anybody that could get it to her, she was wanting to buy it. That was a drug she wanted. She didn't want him to be laid up in a hospital, agonizing, having his chest pumped and stomach pumped and all this kind of stuff to try to resuscitate him. She needed a quick kill solution. That's what it's looking like here, folks. So this looks really, really bad for Kouri.
Afternoon. I don't know about good, but afternoon.
Anything that you have that, oh gosh, this looks bad for the state regarding Carmen's memory and how many times it was and what it was, the drug amount, all that. She was looking for the worst thing she could get on the street at the time. That's what this witness just corroborated.
Afternoon. I'm Wendy Lewis. We met, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to say, I start by saying I'm very sorry for your loss of Hayden. I know that's been very difficult for you. Now, you, of course, have been called as a witness for the state, right?
Mhm.
And was there a time,
Oh, yes.
and did they reach out to you a couple of months ago to try and get you to come in and meet with them?
Yeah, I've tried multiple times.
Multiple times. All right. I'm going to show you just for what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 1002.
Come on, hurry up.
So your texts are in blue, is that correct?
Yes.
And his are in black.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that we publish that 1002 be admitted and published.
Not objection. I would touch.
Of course.
All right, now we got a sidebar. So this is something I think is really odd for the defense to be doing.
Katie, can you? Or Your Honor,
Watch it.
whoever's controlling the screen.
No problem.
Technique they're going to use here.
So that's the text exchange that's been offered by the defense.
And it's just that one page.
Yes. Oh,
There we go.
Mr. Bloodworth, no rush. Take a moment. Make sure that's what the state regards as, is it 2 pages, Katie? 4. Okay.
she sent it.
Screenshots.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kate, I don't read that fast. Can we start at the top, please?
You know, this could have been worked out outside the presence of the jury on break or trial on Friday. You don't want to keep
Next page, please.
waiting.
Next page, please. Next page, please.
I forgot to say that he also took the patent bar, this prosecutor Bloodworth, when he was on the East Coast. So sort of unique. He has some of like similar background that Leslie and I have. Leslie's a patent attorney, an engineer as well. So anyway, then he's also a JAG. So anyway, sort of like between Leslie and I, we have a lot of similar backgrounds collectively.
Katie, can you go to the first page, please?
Are these out of order?
Yeah, I can't figure out the order. They go, I can't tell if they go backwards in time. It might go backwards in time.
Maybe.
So, as far as I'm aware, the first page is the screenshot she sent. And then
The defense-
show what she screenshot.
It doesn't, but
Some courts also require both sides exchange documents, exhibits. Hey, what are you going to bring up throughout today, or what's a pecking order and what documents? Because we don't want to have this hiccup in the trial and break up the momentum. So
We can just do the first page if you want.
if I was a judge, I'd be like, going, you guys are going to iron this out before we have the jury sitting here waiting, and you're going to bog us down.
Let me see. Well,
If I need to rule on something, then we'll do it outside the presence of the jury, but we're not going to sit here and say, oh, here, I'm going to show this to the witness and cross him on it. And I haven't shown this to the prosecution before, even though the prosecution has it out of their file.
so those are two different types of.
pause for a minute. Thank you.
Let me just do that. I can do that because it's confusing. Because I do want
Judge,
the
you like
pieces ahead on time.
think about it, I'm going to 1.25 speed here.
But it looks like there's stuff above this. That this is a midstream discussion. I'm sorry, Katie. Can you go to the second page, please?
But it'll be okay. Now, let me jump ahead.
Looking at so feed time, temperature a little better.
Yes.
It's a long delay. Witness still on the stand.
Current version of the text message.
Katie, if you'd show it to me. Will you go to page 2 for me? Oh, wait a minute. Will you go back to page 1 for a moment? My apologies.
That's the one we took out, correct?
No, this was the.
No, that, okay. Then page 2.
It's a hot mess. Yeah, so what Wendy Lewis would do is like keep going back over the same issue later instead of getting everything resolved. The topic, the first drug deal, let's say, instead of getting all that resolved in the first time in any other inconsistent statement, she would take each interview, try to impeach her on that, and then go on to the second interview, try to impeach her on that, et cetera. And so what wound up doing is it's like this snowballing confusion wheel. And that's not a good thing to do, I don't think. And that's why I think the jury was just like tuning her out. Yeah, okay, so
Page 3, please. Okay. I'm going to show this to the witness. If you would lay some foundation, Ms. Lewis.
So do you recognize this as text from your phone?
Yes.
And they are text between yourself and Detective O'Driscoll. Is that correct?
Yes.
And his original text at the top was sent in December 30th, correct?
Yes.
And then you responded sometime later, which was sometime in January, correct?
Yes.
And you recognize all of these text messages?
Yes.
And are they accurate as far as you recall?
Can we show our pages 2 and 3,
Yeah.
please?
Yes. The first one, it's two different. That's why it looks weird. But yes, they're all. Yes.
Okay. We now move to admit defense exhibit.
I'm sorry. No, just foundation. There's two different phone numbers that appear. I think we just need foundation on whose phone number is who.
One's Detective O'Driscoll's and the other one's Travis.
I didn't understand that answer, Ms. Lewis. Could you lay some more foundation?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So the first page, the 14353213618, that's Detective O'Driscoll.
I don't know what the confusion is. It's not making any sense. And they should have the same one. Because the prosecution hands over the defense to discovery, so it should be in the same order of everything.
I don't know his phone number off the top of my head, but
Do you recognize the text as being from him?
I think that the first one is Travis.
I don't see this being ineffective. I think it's just inefficient, and you lose points with the jury, and so that's why I think the prosecution has the upper hand here. They got the facts, and they're not getting bogged down in minutia.
Because I believe the first one is Travis. I don't know his number off the top of my head.
All right, let me see where there's
I didn't say by their other numbers.
Can we move to the next page, Katie? Is that a different phone number? That's the same phone number, correct?
It is not.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that one would be Travis. That
So-
one would be O'Driscoll.
I can't believe the jury's sitting there listening to all this.
Are you sure? Because they say the same thing.
The one is because I sent it to Travis to show him how Detective O'Driscoll was handling himself through this.
Oh, I
That's why,
understand.
yeah.
All right. So the first text is from Detective O'Driscoll.
What is pulled up right now, that one is.
And then that's when you sent the text.
That one's Travis. I had
To Travis.
screenshotted it to show him.
Why don't we consider these separately?
All right. So let's go to the text, the second page from Detective O'Driscoll. Take out the first page, Katie. Starting right there. So if we could introduce, is that 3 pages now? Or 2? 2. All right. If we could introduce.
Maybe what happened is defense took an extract of what the prosecution gave them and then took out certain sections of it and created their own file and then are not using that to cross-examine this Anna Isbell. And it's like you gotta keep the information consistent between the parties so you don't have this confusion when you want to have something admitted or showed on the screen for the jury to see.
The 2 pages of text between Ms. Isbell and Detective O'Driscoll.
Would you mind confirming with this witness what these 2 pages are?
And these 2 pages are text between you and Detective O'Driscoll, correct?
Yes.
And the black bubbles are from him, the blue are from you, correct?
Yes.
And that's an accurate representation of the text conversation you had with him at that time, correct?
Yes.
I think this is still Defense Exhibit 1007, if we could introduce, or at least mark it as 1007, this particular version.
Say it again. Well, I don't know what it is. How are we marking it?
I tried to, but it didn't have to.
So, Mr. Bloodworth, Defense Exhibit 1002A.
The thing is, I'll just say it up front here before we get to it. It's like what is said here in these text messages is not helpful to the defense. So that's the irony of this whole thing.
That text message stream between Ms. Isbell and a number ending 6267, 2-page document.
Can I see the second page?
Of course.
Your Honor, no objection to the admission. We're going to need, though, before publishing to anybody, to redact the phone number except for the last 4 digits.
No problem. I think that's the only place it appears, right? Is at the top.
Can you do that so we can still see the,
There you go.
oh, that's on the previous page though, right?
And then on both pages, please, Katie.
It's on defense.
Okay.
This
We
doesn't
can show
want
me
to be
page 2
there
again.
anyway.
Okay. Numbers redacted. Any objection, Mr. Bloodworth? Okay. Defense 1002A, a 2-page text stream involving phone number ending 6267 is admitted. Let me publish. Ms. Lewis, take it from there.
Thank you. All right, now as we just talked about, this was a text between you and Detective O'Driscoll.
Yes.
And he sent you a text that said, so you can make our life easier and answer our calls, we can prep you on what you're going to be asked. Next time I knock on your door, I'll have a warrant and a catchable for your dog, correct?
Yes.
Now, he was talking about that they reached out and asked you to come in to be prepped for your testimony.
Oh, overall.
Overall, okay.
Pause. Ms. Lewis, for a moment.
Your Honor, she misread the text. I know it's up there and the jury can read it for themselves. But there-
If they can. I mean, it's small. Yeah. Can we zoom in, Katie?
So Attorney Lewis misread the text.
Pause for 1 second. Can you folks read that?
I might have misread because some of it's covered in.
yeah, I mean, the redaction might have been part of the problem, but
Can we maybe go to,
I think because we blocked out the number, I can't see
Okay.
the first one.
all right. We'll just let the jury read it for a moment.
Your Honor, if Ms. Lewis could also turn her mic back on.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Brian. All right, let's try again. This is blocked out a little bit, but you'll be able to see it later, hopefully. So until you are needed to testify. So make your life easier and answer our calls so we can prep you on what you will be asked. Otherwise, the next time I knock on your door, I'll have a warrant and a catch pole for the dog. That's what he said, correct?
Yes.
I don't need to be prepped. Give me the time and date and I will appear. He says it's on your subpoena. You ask, is there more an exact date or a date? Do I need to be there February 23rd through March 26th? His response, we could have discussed that if you ever replied, but since you don't want to, you can plan on showing up every day at 8 o'clock. Next page. Your response, I don't need to be prepped. Give me the time and date and I will appear. Oh, so this is the same. It's repeated. It's on your subpoena, February 23rd. Plan on being there every day. And then you say, I would like it over text message so that I have exactly what you say in writing. And again, he says you're legally obligated to show up on the dates and times on the subpoena. So let's go back. First of all, what was your reaction when he showed you when he sent you these text messages?
Oh, I was livid. I was very upset. I thought it was rude, inconsiderate, but not how you should treat somebody that did nothing wrong.
Okay. And you were asking if he would give you an exact date to show up to court instead of telling you to be here every day, correct?
Yeah.
And he said, well, no.
Yeah.
You'd be
Should've
here
talked to
every
me.
day, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you didn't want to come in and be prepped, correct?
I didn't want to speak to them at all.
All right. But you never refused to come in and testify because you were legally obligated to do so. Is that fair?
I never refused.
All right. Now, he said that next time I knock on your door, I'll be there with a warrant and a pole for the dog.
Mm-hmm.
So he threatened to arrest you if he had to come back to try and talk to you.
Yes.
And he said the next time. He'd been to your home before?
Yeah.
Did your dog attempt to attack O'Driscoll when he was at your home before?
No.
Is your dog a vicious dog?
He's a big dog. He's very protective, especially after Hayden's passed. He's behind a fence that you aren't supposed to open unless
Okay.
somebody that knows him is there.
Did he attempt to bite Detective O'Driscoll?
Absolutely not.
Did he touch Detective O'Driscoll?
Yeah, I don't think he's ever seen my dog. Maybe through the fence.
Through the fence. So you didn't sick your dog on Detective O'Driscoll?
Never.
All right.
How's this relevant? Where's she driving at? What's your point, counsel?
Okay. Thank you. Now let's go back. Sorry that took so long. You recently completed rehab, right, Anna?
Yeah.
Fairly recently. I mean, it wasn't like last week, but fairly recently. And your drug of choice was alcohol. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
You're doing well. No.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How were you doing in 2022?
Sorry, what year was that even? I base my years off was Hayden dead or not at that time. 2022.
Let me make it simple.
Yeah. Give me a point of date.
During the time when this phone call happened, were you sober?
What phone call?
The phone call you're here to talk about between Hayden and Kouri.
I had just got done with dinner. So I think Hayden and I had went to Sushi Blue that night. So I probably had a drink there.
Okay. So before we get to the phone call, just a couple of other questions. So you said Hayden did handyman work for Kouri.
Yes.
Did he work on a number of projects for her? Do you know?
That I know of, yeah.
All right. And was Kouri good to him while he was working for her?
Yes.
She would help him out at times?
Yeah.
What kind of things would she help him out with?
Just advice, helping with she had helped him get insurance, liability while he worked for her, so that she wouldn't be liable, those kind of things.
All right.
She seemed very nice to him.
So you said in January of 2022, Hayden got a phone call. He was on speaker and you could hear part of the call.
Mm-hmm.
Because you did go into the bathroom for some of the call, correct?
Yes.
All right. So is what you heard Kouri say that she was asking him for the Michael Jackson drug?
That was part of it.
Because you didn't know what that was, correct?
Yeah.
And were you Googling on your phone trying to figure that out during the phone call?
Going to, but I didn't because.
So you're bringing up the Michael Jackson drug? That's what Kouri was asking about? Is this for real? Did I hear that right?
I was trying to figure out what the first thing that she said, because I thought it was a muscle relaxer. And then I was like, what the fuck is Michael Jackson stuff?
So you thought she was asking for a muscle relaxant?
That was what I was thinking she was talking about.
Okay, and then you went into the bathroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did you ever, at that call, hear Kouri ask for the drug fentanyl?
I did not.
Okay, I have nothing further.
Okay, you didn't hear fentanyl, but you heard the Michael Jackson drug. She was looking for that. Okay, wow. Propofol. Can't say it right, but yeah, that's a Michael Jackson drug. So that's a killer. That's a killer drug. So whether it's that or fentanyl, the intent was to load him up and kill him so she can get him out of her life.
Mr. Bloodworth,
No, sir.
may we release this witness?
We may.
Ms.
Okay, so this is like so bizarre. It's like you're hurting your client by doing this. You're trying to impeach this witness and make it look like she's not credible because she had used to have a drinking problem. She didn't want to be there, and if she didn't want to be there, why are you trying to show that she didn't want to? She doesn't want to be there because she doesn't want to be involved. She doesn't have a dog in the fight. She doesn't want to come testify. She's not doing this because she doesn't like Kouri. She doesn't want to be involved in this, and so making it look like she's resisting because she doesn't want to come to court and lie. It's not going to come across that way to the jury. So very, very poor lawyering here, I would say. Defense really struck out on this witness big time. And you know what? Showing that this Kouri Richins was looking for either of those two drugs shows how desperate she was to get her husband killed. So this is huge, a huge win for the prosecution to get this in. This witness is totally credible. All right, now let's go ahead to Robert Crozier, Robbie, aka Robbie. Here he is. Justin Pink.
If you'll please raise your right hand.
Kouri.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury? Thank you. Please have a seat.
He's checked out. He doesn't want to be there.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
What, sir, is your name?
It's Robert Crozier.
Do you spell your last name Crozier?
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you have a criminal drug history?
I do.
Can you please explain it to us?
I had a distribution charge in December of 22, and two possession charges in 23.
Were you dealing drugs in December of 2022?
Yes.
When did you begin dealing drugs?
Killed Michael Jackson.
I'm not sure, sometime around 2020, maybe.
And were you dealing drugs throughout early 2022?
Yeah, I was.
Mr. I apologize for interrupting you. Would you and Ms. Lewis approach for one moment? Just, sir, my
All right.
apologies.
All right, another sidebar. All right, let's jump ahead here. I'm going to speed this one up. So this guy, he's looking shifty. His eyes look a little bit glossy. Looks like his eyes are dilated. Does he look like he's under the influence of something? There we go. It's a former drug dealer, so down in prison right now.
Have a seat, Mr. Crusher. Thank you.
All right.
We're going to be in recess until 1:25. Do I have present?
All right. All right.
Mr. Bloodworth, please proceed.
Sir, are you represented today by counsel?
I am.
And are you testifying pursuant to 3 grants of immunity?
I know that there's immunity. I don't know how many of them. Yes.
Understand. Are you aware of immunity from Summit County,
Yes.
from Salt Lake County,
Yes.
and from the federal government?
Yes.
Look at how bouncy and zigzaggedy his eyes are. That's really, really not normal to see.
Did your attorney assist you in getting those grants of immunity?
Yes. As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. What is your understanding of those grants of immunity?
That I need to be honest, or they're void, I guess.
Okay. Do you also understand that you have to testify not only honestly, truthfully,
Mhm.
but also fully and completely?
Yes.
And did your lawyer advise you regarding your obligations under the grants of immunity?
I don't understand what you mean.
Did she tell you what you had to do?
You told me I had to come to court and be honest, and
Did she tell you what would happen if you weren't honest?
that the immunity would be void, or so that I could potentially be charged with a crime.
Sir, do you know who Nicole Cummings is?
I do.
Who is she?
Excuse me. She is a girl that I lived with for a couple of months at the end of 2021.
Did there come a time in early 2022 when she contacted you about a friend of hers?
Yes.
What did she say to you?
She asked me if I would talk to her friend. I don't remember her name. And get some Roxy's for her, the oxycodone.
Did you contact Nicole Cummings' friend?
I think Nicole asked her if she could give her my number, and then she contacted me. But I think that's how that went.
Did you ultimately speak with her?
Yes.
Did you text with her?
I think it was mostly phone calls, but there might have been some text. I don't know. That was 4 years ago.
Sure.
Oh.
When you spoke or texted with her, what did she ask for?
As far as I remember, she was asking for Roxy's for the oxycodone.
Did she identify what she was asking for by any label other than Roxy's?
No.
Did you at that time believe that Roxy's meant oxycodone?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I know. I know that they mean. Excuse me.
Did you set up the cell to her?
I set up to meet her in Draper.
Did you set up to meet her at a Maverick in Draper?
Yes.
Draper's a town.
Did you ultimately meet her at that Maverick in Draper?
Yes.
gas station?
Where were you coming from to get to the Draper?
At that, I think Roy, maybe, or Layton.
It's not the Draper, it's Maverick at the Draper, Utah.
Do you remember how many times you agreed to meet her at the Draper?
Like I said, it was 4 years ago. I remember once clearly, maybe twice.
Could there have been a third time?
I don't think so.
So let's talk about the first time you can recall. Is that the one you recall the clearest?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I believe it was raining that day, and she was coming from quite a distance, so we met in Draper to make it easier.
Once you met at the Maverick in Draper,
Mhm.
Did you meet up with her personally?
I mean, she was in a car.
Okay.
I went up to the car. She handed me the money. I gave her the pills, and then went our separate ways.
Did you have the pills with you, or did you have to go get them from somebody?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what she looked like?
I really don't. I think she was Mexican, kind of short, but I don't know if she was in a car the whole time. I don't even think she got out because I remember it was raining.
Have you come to learn that her name is Carmen Lauber?
I have heard that. Yeah, like
You said she handed you the money. Do you remember about how much money?
I don't remember.
You said you handed her pills. What do you remember, if anything, about the pills?
It was like 30 or 40 of them.
Do you remember anything else about that first buy with this lady?
No, she was in like a little, I want to say like a Civic or something, like a Honda Civic, but yeah.
Okay. Were you selling a lot of drugs around this time?
I wouldn't say a lot, no. I sold or got pills for maybe 3 or 4 people. So yeah, I wouldn't by any means say it was a lot.
And was this about early February 2022?
Yeah, I believe so.
Can we talk about the second time?
Okay.
How did the second time come about?
I really don't remember. Like, I'm not even real clear if I met her a second time. Oh, to be honest with you, like I know that I met her the one time, and it might have been twice, but I really, like it was like 4 years ago. So like I don't really remember if I met her more than once. But if it would have been the same thing, like I would have gotten the money from her, given her the things, and left. Like there wasn't a lot of interaction. We didn't, get a drink together or anything. We just,
It's a drug deal.
yeah,
Not rocket surgery.
right.
Had you met her at the Maverick Draper for anything else other than a drug deal?
No.
Had you met her anywhere other than the Maverick Draper?
No.
So am I right that the only times you've met Carmen Lauber is at the Maverick Draper?
That's right.
And the only times you've met her at the Maverick Draper was to sell her drugs?
That's correct.
Do you recall interviewing with Summit County detectives on May the 4th, 2023?
Vaguely. I remember like I was in jail. I hadn't been there very long. I was on a lot of drugs at that time. So like I was detoxing from those drugs. And I remember like going in a conference room and speaking with them, but I don't really recall a lot of the discussion.
Which jail?
Davis County Jail.
Do you recall whether they asked you if Carmen asked for blues specifically or fentanyl specifically?
I have read the report, so like I know that they did, but I don't remember them saying that to me.
Okay, and by report, do you mean a transcript of their interview?
Yeah.
So you know from reading a transcript of their interview that they asked you whether Carmen asked for blues or fentanyl on one hand or oxys on the other hand?
Yes.
Do you recall how you responded to that question?
Not right offhand. I think I said something to the extent of that I thought I didn't know if they were fentanyl or Roxy's, but whatever she asked for is what she got.
Do you recall your answer to that specific question of theirs, whether she asked for blues specifically or fentanyl on one hand or oxys on the other hand?
No.
If I were to show you that transcript again, would you be able to recall?
I mean, I'm not going to remember it, but like, I can
Would that help
see
you
it. Like,
refresh it?
I can see like what it says.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but as far as remembering it, that was 3 years ago, or however many years ago. And I was in a rough state at the time that I had that conversation with them.
Scott, can we bring up for the witness, please, 8-46, Tango?
Yeah, but the key is she wanted to give him fentanyl or propofol. So that shows intent to kill. And what does he get 5 times a lethal amount? It's 50 times stronger than heroin. Fentanyl is. Yeah, anything could have
Are
it.
we moving too fast for you?
No.
Any kind of illicit drug could have it, but you know what? If you're looking for that specifically,
No, I was reading. I'm sorry.
Okay.
you can't claim ignorance.
Investigator's question of whether she wanted blues or fentanyl specifically or oxys.
Yeah, but it says that.
It's a yes or no.
Yes. Okay.
So how did you respond to that?
Can I take this witness on board for just one moment?
Not at the moment. You gotta let me answer that question.
Please, approach.
Yes.
Oh, please. Let's get ahead here.
For oxy, how did you respond? Sir, when the investigators asked you, for the Carmen Lauber asked specifically for blues or fentanyl or oxy, how did you respond?
I said that she asked probably for blues, but at that time, Roxy's were blues. It wasn't like it was like the slang on the street was, when people bought Roxy's, they were buying blues. It was before, this influx of fentanyl and it also said that usually so M30s. Yeah, that's what the Roxy's were stamped with was M30s. That's a manufacturer stamp. It's not just a fentanyl thing.
Do you recall investigators then clarifying that very thing with you and asking, it wasn't like she was asking for oxys and got M30s, right? Do you remember the investigators asking you for that clarification?
Well, oxys implies that they would have been oxycontin to me, but M30s would be fentanyl, or not fentanyl, but Roxy's. At that time in 2022, in early 2022.
Well, I think that confusions what the investigators were trying to clarify, weren't they?
I don't know what they were.
Do you recall the investigators asking you? It wasn't like she was asking for oxys and got M30s. Do you recall them asking you that?
I have read it, but I don't recall them asking me that. No.
But you know that they asked you that from having read the transcript, right?
Your Honor, asked and answered, said no, recall.
That is true. And if you would answer that question, please.
So I'm sorry, you can repeat your question.
Do you know that investigators asked you, it wasn't like she was asking for oxys and got M30s?
Yeah, that's what it says. Yeah.
Do you recall your answer to that question?
I do not.
Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you the transcript of the interview?
Sure.
Scott, can I get 846T again?
Which page do you want to go to?
If we can stay, please, on page 13. And sir, if you could read from
Says I sold her what? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, can you please read to yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can you please read to yourself from page 13, line 19, and then we'll switch over to 14 in a second.
Okay.
Fentanyl's been around since 2015. He's a major player in the street drug scene. Yeah,
Okay, if you
really
could take that down, please, Scott. Sir, does that help refresh your recollection?
Took a huge spike in 2020, and it continued on upward, rapidly upward. So for this guy to say, "Oh, well, like it wasn't around till later in 2020," I think he's trying to deflect here and distance himself from the fact that he did sell fentanyl, which we heard from Carmen that he said he didn't have the stronger oxy cotton or hydrocodone, but he did have the fentanyl. So he's just trying to backtrack, I think, and the jury's picking up on it.
I mean, no, but like I can see what it says, but I don't remember having this conversation. But
When the police asked you whether she was asking for oxys and got M30s, do you recall how you responded?
it says no, she would have got what she asked for. Okay.
He said he doesn't recall.
Sustained.
Sir, do you recall whether police asked you if Carmen Lauber knew there was fentanyl in the pills that you sold her?
Again, yeah, it said that.
It's a yes or no question.
Do you recall it?
I don't recall. I really don't recall the conversation with the police at all, other than I had the conversation with them. I don't remember details of it other than what I've read.
Do you agree in the interview generally that you confirmed that you sold pills containing fentanyl to Carmen Lauber?
No, I said that from what I read, I said that she knew what she got what she wanted. Whatever she asked me for is what she got, but I'm pretty sure it was Roxy's, and it was the whole questioning with those cops was them kind of telling me what I had been doing.
Sir, you've read a copy of that transcript.
I have.
Is it an accurate transcript of your interview with detectives that day?
No, he said he doesn't remember about the minute.
Well, I'm going to let him answer it. You're objecting to foundation. Your foundation's overruled. It's a yes or no question, sir. Or I don't know. I want to be clear.
Okay, yeah. Again, I don't know.
No.
Can we turn now to an affidavit that you signed in September of 2025? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Did you swear to the affidavit saying that it was true?
Yes.
Did you read the affidavit before swearing to it?
I believe it was read to me.
In that affidavit, did you say that you sold drugs to Carmen Lauber 2 times in February 2022 at the Maverick and Draper?
I believe it said the same thing I've been saying, that it was once, maybe twice. Like I don't recall if it was more than that. But
Did you say in that affidavit that one time you sold Roxy 30s and one time you sold Blues?
yes, but again, blues are at that time. Blues are Roxy 30. So they're synonymous.
That was
Yeah.
your understanding of what Blues are, right?
Yes.
At that time.
Yes, and if I sold somebody blues, then they were the Roxy 30s.
They may have law enforcement explain later on in the trial on the case in chief for the prosecution what exactly was going on in the street drugs in that locale back in 2022. So they can say no, that there was a lot of fentanyl going on around that time. So
Did you say in that affidavit that you understood actually at that time in early 2022, that OxyContin was the same thing as blues and Oxy and Oxy 30s?
No,
Did you say in the affidavit that you sold OxyContin?
no. No, I think like there were notes being made in it and things crossed out, but yeah, I clearly said that's not OxyContin. I never sold OxyContin. I sold oxycodone.
who did he give the affidavit to? Did he type it? Did somebody else type it? Did he write it? This should be clarified, I think, by the prosecutor.
Roxy 30s.
So, sir, you've never sold OxyContin?
Never.
Scott, can I get 847, please? Sir, could you please review that? We'll scroll down through all the pages. Scott, can you go down one?
Yeah, that's a typo. I'm sorry.
Go down again, please. And one more to the swearing. Can you go back to the top, please, Scott? Mr. Crozier, is that an accurate depiction of the affidavit that you signed in September 2025?
I mean, without all of the corrections, yes. Like as I was sitting in jail and going over it with the defense attorney, she was crossing the OxyContin out because I kept saying that's oxycodone. And then she was crossing other words out. Like there was a whole bunch of different words that were put in there that were typos or they weren't the right words. They certainly weren't my words. But
Whether they were your words or not, is this the one you signed? Is that your signature at the bottom?
it is, yeah.
Your Honor, the state moves 8-47 into evidence.
No objection.
State's Exhibit 8-47 is admitted. Published to the jury.
Yes, Your Honor. Scott, can we just zoom in on the first 4 paragraphs? So is that first paragraph accurate?
Yes,
Is the second paragraph accurate?
yes,
Is the third paragraph accurate?
yes.
Scott, can you drop down one page and zoom in? Is that fourth paragraph accurate?
No, it's got a, yeah, it's got the, or it says oxycontin and not oxycodone.
Is that fifth paragraph accurate?
No, again, it says oxycontin and not oxycodone.
Is that sixth paragraph accurate?
No, again, it says oxycodone. Or oxycontin and not oxycodone.
Seventh paragraph accurate?
No, because it says that I met with her 2 times and I'm not sure that I met with her 2 times.
How about the eighth paragraph?
Yes.
How do you know whether what you were selling, were you selling pills at the end of 2022?
I wasn't selling Roxy's anymore. I was only selling fentanyl at that time.
Were you selling pills in late 2021 and early 2022?
I was selling Roxy's then, yes,
How do you know what was inside the pills that you were selling?
because I had multiple people that had prescriptions.
So you were getting the pills from other.
Yeah, I had, yes.
Who did you get the pills from that you sold to Carmen Lauber?
I don't recall. I had multiple sources that I was getting them from.
So you just had a guy.
I had a few guys.
Is paragraph 9, is that accurate?
Yes,
Is that accurate with the handwritten correction?
yeah, the possessing, yes,
Are those your initials next to that possessing that's handwritten?
yes,
How about paragraph 10? Is that accurate?
yeah,
This looks like it's
yes.
by the chest, doesn't it?
How about paragraph 11?
Just trying to walk back everything.
Yes.
We go down to legal. Okay. Paragraph 12, accurate?
It is.
13?
With the exception of the Oxycontin again, instead of oxycodone. Again, the oxycodone prescription, I had an Oxycontin prescription.
14 accurate?
Again, with the Oxycontin instead of oxycodone.
15 accurate?
It is.
16 accurate?
With the Oxycontin instead of oxycodone.
Let's scroll down to that's your signature?
It is.
Can we go to the next page step? Is that your signature?
It is.
Now in there you say that you read the foregoing. Did you read it?
Yeah, but who wrote
It
it?
was read to me, yes.
Is the foregoing a power of attorney or is it something else?
I'm sorry, I don't know what foregoing is.
Well, what's above there? The first of the page.
I'm sorry. What was your question?
It says right there that I read the foregoing power of attorney and understood the contents thereof. They're telling you that you didn't read it, right?
See, so whoever prepared the form did such a sloppy job because it's not a power of attorney; it's an affidavit. So the public notary section there, their language, their standardized language, is messed up because they're calling this thing a power of attorney.
Saying that it was read to me, and every time it said Oxycontin.
This has to be from the defense. This has to be. They went and interviewed him, and they had something written up, hoping he's going to sign off on it. And apparently he did. They brought a notary in there or something. I don't know. Is that what happened?
Like we were saying, okay, it needs to be oxycodone.
But those changes weren't made.
No, I mean, yeah, apparently not.
Thanks, Scott.
No. According to Carmen, that's all he had. He didn't have the higher dosages of the oxy.
Is it fair to summarize your testimony today that you sold Carmen Lauber on at least one, maybe two occasions, M30s and blues, and you believe that M30s and blues referred to at that time oxycodone?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Ms. Lewis.
Usually it's by the hour. sort of put in at a flat rate.
I do not, thank you.
Guilty pleas are often a flat rate, but if it's a contested trial, it's by the hour. The prosecutor didn't bring out who made that statement to, who typed that up. It looked like somebody came up to him in his jail cell, handed this to him, and said, "Will you sign this? Please sign this for us." He doesn't want to bring down Kouri, so he signed it.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
We've met before. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
We've met before, right?
What's that?
We've met before.
We have.
Yes. Okay. Just gonna ask you a couple of questions about that first interview. You said that with the detectives that you really didn't remember that interview.
Mhm.
You did say though, just a moment ago, well, they were just telling me what I'd been doing. Do you remember that?
I do.
All right. So during that interview, remember that they just told you what you'd been doing and you just kind of agreed. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I didn't really want to get in trouble. I was already in jail. I had bail. I was trying to get out. I wasn't. And they kept telling me that I wasn't in trouble and nobody was going after me and things like that. But still, I mean, when they originally came and talked to me and were asking me about, I had no idea who any of the people they were besides Nicole. They showed me pictures and I was like, I don't know who that is. But yeah.
All right. Let's fast forward to September of 2025. And you were interviewed by myself and by my investigator, Mr. Bertram.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
There you go. There you go. That proves it right there. November. That's the date of this power of attorney.
And were you sober when you and I and Mr. Bertram met?
I was.
And do you recall at that interview you told us you thought you had sold to Ms. Carbon 2 times?
I think I said once, maybe twice.
All right.
Same thing I've been saying.
You said once, maybe twice.
Mm-hmm.
And that the first time was Roxy 30s, which you've explained, right?
I'm sorry. Yes.
And Roxy 30s, and we're going to get to this whole oxycodone thing.
They should have some law enforcement that specializes in all these street drugs at that time to current and explain what these street lingos mean. And that'll help prove this guy's backtracking.
In just a minute.
Okay.
But Roxy 30s, would that be 30 milligram oxycodone pills?
Yes.
All right. And you said you met her at the Maverick to sell them. And you,
If you just add a question mark at the end of these as you go.
oh, all right. And you met her at the Maverick to sell them, correct?
Yes.
And that you remember it was early 2022, correct?
Yeah, it was around this time.
Okay.
There was snow then. So
Okay. So can you remember what you were charging per pill for 30 milligram oxycodones?
like either $25 or $30 a piece.
$25 or $30 per pill.
Mhm.
You weren't selling fentanyl at that time, but when you did sell fentanyl, what did that sell for?
About the same.
You sold fentanyl for about the same.
Mhm.
Are you aware that there was a time that fentanyl was sold for considerably less than oxycodone?
Yes.
And would that have been earlier when fentanyl first started in the market, or would that just depend on who was selling it?
It just depends on who was selling it,
Okay.
where you got it from. You know, if you know a Hondo that'll give them to you for 80 cents, then yeah, but
All right. That's fair. So do you recall, let me back up. So you said that when you sold her, the time that you clearly remember the first time she was sitting in a car, was anybody with Ms. Lauber?
I don't remember.
You don't remember there being anyone, or you just don't know?
I just don't know. Like if there was some or if she was by herself, I don't know.
Okay. And then do you recall saying that there was a time you sold to her when a man came with her?
Yes, I do.
So that would have been the second time that we talked about earlier, correct?
Not sure. It could have been the first time, but probably. Yeah,
Okay.
if there was twice, why not?
Okay. All right. So, if Ms. Carmen Lauber testified that you told her, these are fentanyl pills, I'm selling you fentanyl pills, would that be true?
I mean, if I said it to her, then it would be true, but I don't know that I said that to her.
Well, were you selling her fentanyl
So he's not totally disavowing it that he said that.
pills?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. And let's go over that again. Because I know this was, you were using during that period. But why was it that you remembered that in 2022, early 2022, you were selling oxycodone and not fentanyl?
Because everybody was scared of fentanyl in early 2022 and in 21. You know, it was all over the news and people were dying and it was kind of hard to get and people were scared of getting it.
Yeah, but only after Eric got murdered, right? Only after then did it become easy to buy on the streets.
And like I testified, I had people that had prescriptions. I had my own prescription and we sold those.
When you said you had a prescription and you knew people that had prescriptions, are you talking about oxycodone?
Yes.
Do you remember the milligrams of your prescription?
Mine were 10s at that time.
Tons. Did
Yeah.
you sell any of those to Carmen Lauber?
No.
Okay, so you sold somebody else's prescription.
Yes.
And the pills you sold were actually prescription pills from a pharmacy?
Yes.
And do you recall you met her at the Maverick, and do you recall the person that you were buying from actually lived not super far away from that Maverick? Isn't that correct?
No.
You didn't have a supplier that was pretty close to that Maverick?
No.
You don't recall that you met her there and then you left to get the pills and came back?
I don't remember. I might have met somebody down the street, but I don't remember if I didn't go to anybody's house to get them.
All right, that's fair. So somebody met you a ways from the Maverick to give you the pills? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
And those were that person's prescription?
Yes.
Do you know what the milligrams were? Were they 30 milligrams?
They were 30 milligrams.
All right. So at that time in early 2022, you would not have been telling Carmen Lauber, here, these are fentanyl.
No, I didn't have a fentanyl plug at that time. Like I didn't know anybody that sold fentanyl at that time.
I don't think the jury's buying that for a second.
All right. And you said if you were asked for blues, that to you that meant what?
Roxy's.
Roxy's. Because before fentanyl became really well known, a lot of oxycodones were blue.
Yeah, and they were the M30s, like from the manufacturers. And I think that's why whoever makes those now, the fentanyl ones, they made them to look just like the Roxy's because people were taking, a lot of people were addicted to Roxy 30s at that time. So they made them look exactly like that. And that's why people were dying, because they were thinking they were taking a Roxy and they were taking a fentanyl that looked exactly the same, but color might have been a little different.
And those were either being made illicitly or brought in from Mexico, right?
I'm not sure how they come in, but yeah, they were here. Yeah, you couldn't get them from a pharmacy for sure.
I'm sure you could.
You could not get them from a pharmacy, no.
Okay. So the pills that you sold in 2022 that were light blue, those came from a pharmacy.
Yes.
Do you recall that selling pills that were light green?
If they were light green, they would have been 15s or 20s. With the Roxy's, like the lower the doses, like I had a prescription for 10s and they were pink. And then I think the 15s might have been green and then 20s were gray, I think. And then all of, like, from every manufacturer, they were all blue. The Roxy 30s were every manufacturer, they were all blue.
Light blue?
Yeah, whether they said M30 on them or A22 something or whatever it was, the manufacturer stamp on.
Okay. Now, I want to talk about the affidavit, the one that's been admitted, and then there's a second one that has not yet been admitted. Now, when Mr. Bertram and you didn't type this affidavit, right?
No, I did not.
And Mr. Bertram and I brought these up to you, correct?
Mhm.
And we
Yes.
read them to you, correct?
Yes.
And you made some corrections,
I did.
correct?
Well, I think you had the pin, but yes.
You told me some corrections to make, and I made them correct. And then you signed them, correct?
Yes.
But at that time, let me rephrase that. Then later, you were given an attorney, correct?
Yes.
And Ms. Letkins. And is that right?
Yes.
And Ms. Letkins went over these with you again later, correct? The affidavits.
I don't remember if she did or not. I mean, I went from meeting with you from jail and then going to treatment. I was in 7th Street treatment at the time. I know that we talked about them.
You and Ms. Letkins.
I don't know if we went over it line by line like we just did, but I know that we talked about it.
Do you recall telling Ms. Letkins, there's a mistake in these? It says Oxycontin and it's supposed to be oxycodone?
Yes.
All right. And are you aware that Ms. Letkins then let the prosecutors in this case know these are correct, except that they say Oxycontin and they should say oxycodone?
I don't know that she did that, but I'm sure she did. I don't.
Okay.
So why would defense write a statement and ask him to sign it? Why do they know he's going to backtrack like that? We haven't heard that yet.
And so I'm the one that typed Oxycontin, correct?
Probably, yeah.
Yes. And now that I didn't understand them, but I understand.
Okay, he doesn't have firsthand knowledge of that, so that's really weird for you to say that. It just looks really, really bizarre for an attorney to go in there, or clients facing murder charges, and you're going to go in there with a pre-typed statement where the guy, one of the main guys that's putting weight on your client, you're having him walk it back. It's just, it doesn't look good. It's not a good look.
Now, what's the difference between
You're looking desperate, actually.
Oxycontin and oxycodone?
Oxycontin is way stronger. And it's time released now, I believe. Like, I think in the 90s it wasn't. They were having a lot of problems around the country with those. And then they made them time released. The oxycodone or the Oxycontin 30s, I believe, are purple or they're red or maroon color or something like that. But yeah, they have like a gel around them.
All right. So there's a mistake that we put Oxycontin and then you later corrected it with your attorney and said, well, this is right, other than it should say oxycodone.
Yes.
All right. Because you were selling oxycodone,
Yes.
not Oxycontin.
Yes.
All right. Let me show you. Do we have the mark on the new exhibit?
I'm wondering where his attorney was. Was he in the room or she in the room when Lewis is giving him some statement to sign, a power of attorney?
Okay. Let's pull up what is Defense Exhibit 1025. You actually signed 2 affidavits in September of 2025, correct? And the state introduced one of those affidavits, correct?
I don't know. They just showed me one.
They showed you one.
Okay. Yes.
That's the only one they showed you.
Yes.
Will you take a look at this and tell me if this is the second one you signed?
Did have had a lot more credibility with the juries if he says, look, whatever you read about me earlier, I was under the influence. That's not what I remember now. So have him write out a statement in his own words. That way you're not, it's not looking like defense attorneys are putting words in his mouth.
In paragraph 8, it says Oxycontin again, but
Again, I'm gonna talk about that.
Okay. yes.
Okay, so other than where it says, there's 2 times it says OxyContin when it should have said oxycodone. Other than that, is this a true statement?
Yes.
All right. I'd like to admit Defense Exhibit 1025, which actually is both statements, the one that was already admitted plus this one together. We can separate them out, but it's the same.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
All right, so now we're going to have 2 of the same statements admitted. I mean, this is so corny. Normally, I would think a prosecutor wouldn't want to bring in a written copy of something he retracts, but I think it's so interesting to show that the defense wrote this and then his statement backtracks of something the defense wrote, and then they had it written out before they even interviewed him. That's what makes this thing so squirrely. It makes the defense look really shady here. All right. There's a really good spot here coming up. Let me jump ahead here.
So do you recall,
Queued up though. If you would go
Hold on a second. Okay.
apologies. Let me just get us back to square one here. Katie, if you would go back to page 1. I'm going to hide this for just a moment. Ms. Lewis, it is queued up though, if you need it.
all right, let's actually go to page 2 though, Katie, because you just read this, right, as you were sitting here. All right. So do you recall a meeting with prosecutors in this case in April of 2025 to discuss your testimony?
I do.
And that was before you met with myself and Mr. Bertram in September of 2025.
Yeah. Yes.
And at that meeting, did you tell them then that you never did sell fentanyl to Carmen Lauber?
I told them that I'm pretty sure that I sold her Roxy's and not fentanyl.
Okay. So you told them, excuse me. You told them basically the same thing that you said in September of 2025 and what you're saying today
Yes.
in your testimony. And did you sign a sworn affidavit that that in fact happened?
I did.
All right. And were you sober when you met with the prosecution in 2025
I was.
to tell them that I never sold her fentanyl, I sold her Roxy 30s,
Yes.
oxycodone?
Oxycodone.
Okay. When you met with, or not met, I'm sorry, you talked to your friend Nicole. What did she tell you? No, let me rephrase that. What was your understanding of what Carmen Lauber wanted? She said, I have a friend who wants some pills. What was your understanding of what that friend wanted?
Did she wanted Roxy's? Roxy's. I'm sorry.
So again, you didn't start selling fentanyl until late 2022.
That's right.
You had no access to it in January, February, March of 2022.
No.
When you did start selling fentanyl, what color were those pills?
Like almost purple.
A really dark color.
Yeah. Yeah, they were very distinctive.
Okay. So not light blue, not light green.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone ever ask you for the Michael Jackson stuff?
Watch this.
I'm sorry.
I think that answers my question. Nobody ever asked you, Carmen
There
Lauber
we
didn't
go.
ask you to sell her Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson.
The first emotion we've seen in 5 days. There it is from the accused murderer. Let's back up. She thought this is funny.
Yeah, they were very distinctive.
Okay. So not light blue, not light
But Michael Jackson, she thought that was funny.
green. Did anyone ever ask you for the Michael Jackson stuff?
I'm sorry.
I think that answers my question.
What's so funny about that, Ms. Lewis? And Kouri laughing too? We've seen nothing out of her for any emotion, and you think that's funny. Oh, it's the drug that killed Michael Jackson. Yeah, well, you're shopping around for anything, right? Anything you could get your hands on to kill your husband.
Nobody ever asked you, Carmen Lauber.
Trust me, this is going to be another really bad thing for the defense here today. This may be it goes along nicely with what we've heard so far, which is the fact that this is a wife who was going to extreme measures to get her husband killed. Extreme measures here. So, and now after showing no emotion whatsoever of loss of her husband, and now she's thinking this is funny.
Lauber didn't ask you to sell her Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson drug.
No. Is that,
Do you know what that is?
what do they call that? Prohypnol or something?
Propofol.
Propofol. There you go. Yeah, I've heard of it as I watched the Michael Jackson thing when he died, but yeah, nobody's ever asked me for that.
Do you know if you can even
I
buy that on the street?
I doubt it.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like they would keep that under a tight lock and key.
All right. All right. I'm just going to summarize and then we're going to be done. Okay. So when you initially agreed with detectives that you might have sold fentanyl, you were high, you were coming down, and you don't remember saying that specifically. True.
That is correct. Yes.
And when you met with myself and Mr. Bertram in September of 25, and you said you were selling only oxycodone, you were sober, correct?
Yes.
And you were being truthful?
Yes.
All right. When you met with Mr. Bloodworth and his investigator in April of 2025, you were sober,
Yes.
and you said you were only selling oxycodone in early 2022.
That's correct.
You sober today?
I am.
In fact, congratulations, you just finished your treatment program, right?
Thank you. I did.
What was your sober date?
August 26th,
Of 2020?
25.
25. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Robert, I want you to look at the jury. I want you to tell them, are you telling the truth here today?
Yes, I am telling the truth.
Okay. I have nothing further.
He's working.
Mr. Blood.
Yeah, I don't believe it's
Mr. Crozier, how were the pills that you sold to Carmen Lauber packaged?
They were just in a bag.
Those little tiny clear Ziploc bags?
I don't remember, but a Ziploc bag or something. Yeah, they were in a bag of some kind. Yes.
Like one of those little bags you get with a spare button on a shirt?
Well, I don't think you can't fit 20 or 30 pills in a little bag like that. So they were probably a little bigger than that, but yes.
And you got that bag from your plug, right?
Yeah, from one of somebody.
One of the guys that sold
Yes.
you the pills.
Correct.
You did not get that bag from a pharmacy, correct?
No.
Thank you.
Anything further, Ms. Lewis?
No, Your Honor.
May we release this witness from the subpoena?
We may, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Crozier, you're free to go.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Ledkins, thank you.
well, look from the chat here. You guys don't believe this guy's story either.
Is this a good time for a restroom break? I don't know how long the next witness will be.
All right, so the court to be.
Yeah, Your Honor, next.
Then they jump over to a part 2. So stand by here. I got to find part 2. 1 second. Yeah, do you guys think he's on something? Yeah, I think he doesn't want to own up to the fact that the stuff he gave Carmen is tied to the murder. He didn't intend to commit a murder, but he took the risk that this stuff can kill you. It was definitely prevalent back in 2022. So he's actually got immunity, so I don't think he's smart enough. He could just actually spill his guts on whatever he was doing at that time, selling that fentanyl, but he's backtracking. Yeah, they congratulated this guy on his sobriety. They did also for Carmen, says VTW. In my opinion, they only said it because they didn't want to seem too harsh to her. Yeah, it didn't seem really sincere and happy for her. Munalu, you're asking, do I think they'll pull his immunity deal? Well, there's different prosecution offices that could pull the deal, but they've known about this for a while, so who knows? They're not going to do it now. I think they got enough out of him where there's enough corroboration to show he's the one that was the pipeline. He's the one that gave it to Carmen. So, and of course, he can't remember where he got it from, right? Yeah, let's see. I agree with this Venus gal. Carmen was believable. Robbie's not. Oh, Lewis is so flirty and nice to Robbie. So interesting. And it was not to Carmen. Juries are smart most of the time. They are seeing what we see and more. Yeah, that's along the lines of what I've been saying here. He didn't look sober. He didn't look credible. And I think his original statement was accurate. So stand by here a sec. Let me. Let me go back to YouTube. Here's day 5, part 2. So I'm sure they broke it up into 2 sessions. Okay, here we go. We have
Thanks.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, if you could state your name and spell your last name, please.
Yep, my name is Marcos Garagachia. My last name is spelled Garaycochea.
Where do you work?
At the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office.
What's your role there?
I'm in the Special Investigations Unit.
What does that mean?
We have a forensics lab in the Special Investigations Unit where we download phones, we image hard drives, create demonstrative exhibits for court, and do cell mapping.
Were you?
Let me back that up then. Okay. No video, no audio. Is this where they had the narcotics officer testify? Okay, so that's why we didn't see that. I thought we'd at least get audio. If we're going to do that.
Spell your last name, please.
Yep, my name is Marcos Garagachia. My last name is spelled G-A.
That mean?
We have a forensics lab in the Special Investigations Unit where we download phones, we image hard drives, create demonstrative exhibits for court, and do cell mapping.
Are you trained to perform cell phone downloads?
Yes.
What certifications or what programs are you trained to use?
As far as the programs go, Graykey and Cellbrite and Axiom.
Did you receive a request from the Summit County Sheriff's Office to download some cell phones?
Yes.
I want to talk about those phones. I want to talk about 3 of those phones.
Okay.
So first, I want to talk about a white iPhone 12 with phone number ending 1987. Are you familiar with the phone I'm talking about?
Yes.
Is this one of the phones that you were asked to perform a download on?
Yes.
And were you able to complete a download of this phone?
Yes.
Describe how you did that.
So I use what's called the Graykey machine to extract the data. Now all that data, it just comes in a zip file. Once that data is produced, you have to use a tool, forensic tool, in order to process the data. And I use the Cellbrite machine to do that.
And when you got that raw data from the phone, was there any way to manipulate that data that you extracted from the phone?
No.
You didn't change anything?
No.
And when you placed the raw data from that phone into the readable format, same question. Was that data changed or manipulated in any way?
No.
How do you know that?
Cellbrite is a forensic tool that just specializes in just processing the raw data. You're unable to delete or modify any kind of process data that it produces.
Once you put that raw data into a readable format, was that data given back to the Summit County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Talking about the second phone, did you do a cell phone download for a green iPhone 11 to perform accurate?
Leave that track. Leave those
Actions.
So when you say you repaired it, what was wrong with it?
So when I first received it, I noticed that the screen was cracked and the glass was flaking off. I charged the screen and the main.
That data manipulated?
No.
Any of that data changed?
No.
And then you gave that information back to the Summit County Sheriff's Office?
I did.
Okay. Those are all my questions.
Okay.
All right. We don't need to go into the cross. There's nothing significant here. So BTW, you're saying Carmen was credible in your opinion and seems sober. I agree with that. This guy, he doesn't look like he's totally with it. He just is not trustworthy at all. Yeah, PK, you thought that Carmen was very credible. Everything she said was so genuine. She looks so innocent as far as her mannerisms. I mean, she's respectable and dignified in the way she comes across. She just has had a drug problem that she's been trying to shake most of her life and hasn't been able to do it. She's been on drugs since she was in 6th grade. So anyway, I think they got the information they need from day 5 here. It was a big win day for the prosecution. The fact that Kouri Richins was looking for a killer type of drug and she wound up having received drugs from Carmen, I think that's what the prosecution needed. Even if no matter what the drug was, she was looking for something to do an unaliving of her husband. So I think it's looking good, very good for the prosecution so far. The defense is pretty much spinning their wheels, looking like fools much of the time. They're just not driving home points, and the things they do tend to blow up in their face. So with that, I plan on covering the rest of the trial as much as I can. So I plan to be back on tomorrow night. I have some stuff going on during the day, so it looks like I won't be able to do a live stream during the day. But I plan on coming back on tomorrow night. So we'll go from there. Perhaps my brother will be there in the courtroom as well tomorrow. Not sure. Haven't heard from him, but that was something we talked about a few days ago. But that's about it for now. So you all have a great day tomorrow, and maybe we'll catch you back tomorrow night. Take care. Good night.